Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today, for your Sunday series, we're going to have a bunch of games between soO and Korean Protoss players from Home Story Cup 19. Top left-hand corner, for game number 1, we have the blue Protoss player, it is Zest. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player, it is soO. soO played a lot of ZVP in Home Story Cup, and I'm just want to know what his strategies were against Protoss. So we're just going to examine this today. soO is an excellent, incredible Zerg player with one premier tournament under his belt in 2018. He took second a long time before that, but now he can rest easy because he is a champion in his own right. All right, so, man, 17 hatch. 17 hatch here on Thunderbird. Thunderbird has a very long rush distance, so you can do that here. Not 16 because of the rush distance that the probe needs to use. And extractor here on 18 supply. Yeah, so he's being pretty greedy here, which is totally fair because, again, Thunderbird, you don't have to worry about your Protoss opponent showing up with stuff really on any level. He's got the Overlord making sure there aren't cannons coming up around this area, no gateways or cybernetic scores making their way up in the natural base, because he's pretty blind otherwise. He's Overlord scouting up here to try to sit on this high ground. Actually, is there high ground on this map? No, there's not. I've been annoyed at this because there's not much high ground. Here, technically, yes. But it doesn't let you see the front door, which I'm very annoyed by, to be honest. And this third base can so easily be taken by a Protoss player. So I kind of feel like on this map that soO's going to want to go for something aggressive and try to kill the Protoss before he gets up to 3 bases really easily after just walling off this. Then you're good to go and pretty much immune to anything the Zerg player can do against you. Minus Nidus, minus like a really big 2-base Roach Ravager attack, which should be scouted, honestly, if Zest is on top of his game. So we'll see if he is or not. Drone makes the long distance travel back to return those minerals, which is kind of fun. Second gas up. I mean, this is nothing too crazy at all out of Zest. He's an Adept on the way. Adept's going to come in and check for third base, check for saturation on the natural 2. Is there a Ling still running around? There is, but now she is evacuating. I don't know why I consider probes she's, but I do. Yeah, it should be okay. Again, checking to see, is there a Queen out yet? Is there saturation on that? Not quite yet here. Queen popping up. And what is our Protoss player doing? He's not really giving any tells yet, other than the Stargate opening, which is pretty standard, honestly. Although, I don't know, it's kind of coming back a little bit. For a long time, you'd Stargate or you didn't do anything. But then robotics facility became the thing, and now we're just kind of a mix. You really need to scout what's going on in your Protoss opponent's base to know what is coming, which, again, can be hard to do until you get Overlord speed. Adept comes in, checks to see if there's a lair or a Roach Warren or a second gas and sees none of those things, and then cancels the transfer and just decides to see what's going on elsewhere. Checking for a third base. She might wander over that way. Getting some shots off on that Queen seems a little bit useless, but... Oh, Ling gets in for the scout. Are you kidding? Ling gets in for the scout, sees the Phoenix coming in, and not an Oracle, actually. So this is going to be Phoenix play. Ooh, into an Oracle, strangely enough. Alright, so the Oracle's name here is going to be Generic VPN. With Generic VPN, we will fly around and beam internet straight into your skull. Well, that sounds nice. That's what I have to say about that. Overlord checks to see if there's a third base yet. There's not. Zest is not being that greedy. He is killing Overlords and supply blocking soO, which is gross. But man, look at these Lings out for soO. All of a sudden, Banelings too. He tried to Baneling bust. He's going to try to, technically 3-base Baneling bust, but his saturation is at 23 right now. So no, not going to be enough. He's going to try to break this thing. Is Zest going to be ready for it is the question. He does have big buildings in the wall right now. I think he sees this coming. And there's a shield battery. I don't think this is going to work. The Banelings are like, I guess we'll try to... No? Alright. Man, this is classic Protoss being ready for a Baneling bust. That was beautiful. Didn't even have to use any force fields. Just had big buildings in the wall. Lings are trying to get through, but not with Sentry, not with Oracle sitting up here. Baneling exploding helplessly, and bam! Zest gets the win. Yeah, I've had games like that, soO. I really have. It makes me feel better to watch you do it. Try to get up there. I'm going to Baneling bust the Protoss. He doesn't know it's coming, and suddenly there's like this massive wall. I'm like, oh, he saw this coming. He scouted. He knew what was coming somehow. Did he actually... He didn't know about the Baneling nest. What did he sniff out? He saw the third base coming up. He didn't scout for a while. I don't know, man. I honestly can't tell what he sniffed out there. But he did, nevertheless. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe just being safe. It's better safe than sorry here. Basically just say, let's get a huge wallop in case of a Baneling bust, and we'll be ready for it. And yeah, I mean, at this point, there are so many Banelings from soO, but it didn't matter. The buildings are ginormous. It takes like 15 or 16 or 17 Banelings to get one of these things down. It's just too much investment. At this stage of the game, it was 37 to 30 workers here. Protoss didn't take any damage from that at all. It was 1,000 to 100 resources lost. Yes, soO could have macroed up behind it and tried to play it out, but it would have been a huge uphill battle for him. He decided not to. Let's move on to the next game, he says. And we will. So let's see what the next game for soO is going to be. That was a very interesting match. I mean, that very well could have been, like, me again. Okay, game 2 coming your way. Don't go anywhere. Let's see what happens here on Kairos Junction for game number 2 of our soO compilation. Bottom right-hand corner, blue Protoss player Zest. Top left-hand corner, it is still soO. We're going to make some stats here sooner rather than later here, but yeah. That first game was very fast. Baneling busts usually are. Did I ever tell you back in Wings of Liberty, I got to top 8 diamond back before the leagues were split into different groups, just simply by Baneling busting every single game. And then eventually people figured it out, and yeah, I was a sad panda. All right, so drone scouting is soO, or maybe proxy hatching is soO. Zest probably has that on his mind. It's not Bly, but it is soO. soO likes to proxy hatch sometimes, but we will see. Blocking it here, and attacking. There's the pylon. Pylon goes down. Drone comes in. soO says, let's do this thing. Oh, Zest is ready to block this too, though. Man, Zest on top of things, yo. You do not get a hatchery at my natural base. It's not allowed. Go away. I want a Nexus there. You can't have a hatchery. Ooh, we got some separation, though. You might just throw down a hatch here inside the main. But no, not able to do it. Zest is shutting this down quite well, and soO just expands to the third base location, no problem. He's just faking it here at this stage. He's like, I really want to throw down a hatchery. Please stop blocking me, but he doesn't have the resources to do so anyway, so it's fine. And now Zest is going to throw down his Nexus at 400 minerals. Bam, there it is. Great timing, and everything is proceeding as normal at this point in the game. So, gas steal here from soO, more just to stay alive than anything else. It's a good way to keep your scouting drone alive for some time, and then you cancel and run around and try to see if there's any further tech that's come up yet. There's not at this point. Look at this. This drone is, or this probe is here. Oh, it was there, because if you're on top of the gas, you can't cancel respawn like that. Actually, that wasn't a respawn. That was a finished extractor, so never mind. Alright, so the extractor finishes. Not really going to scout anything at all, unfortunately, here for soO, but it's fine. He's going for queens. He's not going for a Baneling nest quite yet. He has actually pulled off of gas here, so Banelings are not on the menu, boys, right now. He's going to try to get up his third base here. Knocking down the pylon is a bit of a resource loss here from Zest, and actually forces a Zealot out here. I mean, he wants that second gas badly, so he is forced to make a Zealot to get rid of that extractor. Yeah, he wants the second gas up. He wanted it a couple minutes ago, but the gas steal is annoying, but not enough to be game-changing necessarily here. There you go. Natural base warping in now for Zest. He can take the gas over there if he wants to. Adept cruising across the map here to see what she can do. And there's a handful of Lings. There's a queen at each of these bases, just about. The third base will have a queen in time if the Adept decides to come on down here. Yeah, the queens don't take that long to build, as it turns out. So the Adept comes in and is going to see a third base here and say, all right, cool. Well, this isn't going to be any kind of a crazy two-base roach ravager play, that's for sure. Not Banelings either. They're going to shade on up and see what's going on. Still no lair. Okay, fair enough. And couldn't quite see the upper reaches here or see the saturation on the gas. So Zest doesn't quite know what's going on. So, I mean, other than, man, it definitely could be a Baneling bust at this stage. This doesn't look any different than the last one, which is why these two Adepts are coming in now. They're here mostly to scout and maybe to kill a couple drones. Ooh, not finishing that transfer. There are too many Lings present. With the queen DPS, that's way, way too much. So third base, going to pop here for soO any moment now. Feels like it's late, but, you know, that's just because it came up and was started late. So this is actually a good number of Zerglings, and they're going to kill an Adept. So that's one Adept down, but you're not going to want to force your way through there with a Zealot and an Adept ready and waiting to murder you. And we are going for Twilight Council, Dark Shrine, Gateway Robotics Facility. So it feels like Archon drops out of Zest here. And is soO going to recognize what it is? He recognizes there's no Stalkers and no Phoenix. So he's going to scout in and see what's going on. A Stalker does actually warp in here and is going to try to kill this dude, but I think this Overlord sees exactly what it needs to see all before he is murdered. And yeah, look at him come in. Robotics facility, Twilight Council. Is he even going to get... He gets the Dark Shrine too. Hero Overlord from soO there. That was beautiful. That was just absolutely fantastic scouting. Meanwhile, back in soOville, he's droning his face off. He's got a Roach Warren. He's got a second gas. He's really not worried about being aggressive right now. It doesn't look like. He is going for a Spore Crawler here at his third base. And his natural base, and eventually his main. There you go. And now his main. Just in case it is DTs instead of Archons, you just want to have that detection. You know, and also extra shots against Warp Prisms can't hurt if the Warp Prism's flying around your bases too. Spore Crawler shots really do a ton of damage there too. Forge coming up here. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what else to say here out of what we're seeing from Zest. We've seen this a few times before. DT's coming in, and they might actually try to get something done here, but there are 9 roaches in production. There's a ton of lings here too. So, I mean, you might get some stuff done here at the third base, but I just don't see it all that effective. Queen goes down. Roaches and lings running on in right now. Wait. Oh, actually, Adept's coming into the natural base, which is nice, but enough roaches come out to actually force the DTs to pick up and get out of there. Clearing out some creep is never a bad thing as long as you're here. Trying to finish a queen. Nope. Too much damage. Too much damage on the Warp Prism. Too much damage from the roaches. 9 drones died? When? What the heck? Did those Adepts kill 9 drones back here? No way. One more try. Where was this? Was it these guys? No. Alright, so 2 kills and 0 kills. The DTs are... I mean... Okay, so they're in here. So they get 6 drone kills, and then the Adepts get a couple. Alright. Alright, that's fair enough. That's what that was. So 9 drones go down. It was mostly just DT standing in this middle line and going whack, whack, whack for a couple seconds there, and that was enough to kill 7 of them, and then a couple more went down, or 6 of them, and then 3 more went down over here. Understandable. Third base is under attack by Zerglings, though there's a Zealot here to defend against it, and a DT, which DT not bad, honestly, in this situation, and it's enough to shove those lings away. Warp Prism cruising on down to see if there's a 4th base, and there's not one here, which is bad for the Zerg player. Lings do clear out the Dark Templar that was defending this base. Third base actually in a spot of trouble here. By a spot, I mean a huge amount of trouble. Some drones are going down to Adepts, shading into the natural base, killing more of those drones, but are you still warping in Zealots to die here? It's very interesting. Ooh, and a free Immortal, says soO. Let me kill this free Immortal if we can get it. No, it's not enough. The Zealots are causing major problems here. Archons poking around at the third base, killing more of these tumors. This is some pretty dang good harassment out of Zest here in the early stages. 10 drones down. I'm going to try to get rid of the Spore Crawler, I guess. Never mind. Pick up and get the heck on out of there. Overseer comes in for the scout to see what further stuff Zest might be going for, and the answer is obviously charge. Nice force field in case lings do try to get up in there, but they can't. Still no 4th base from soO. He is in a world of hurt right now. He has down to 49 workers, which is more than the Protoss, but he's lost 20 in these first 7 minutes, which is really bad. Really bad news here. Still no 4th, man. I don't know how you're going to win this game on 3 bases versus a 3-basing Zest. You never took down his 3rd, which if you had, fine, I'd feel better about this. But as it stands, really bad stuff. Replacing his creep tumors because he's a good Zerg player who doesn't forget about creep spread ever, unlike someone else that you may know. Roach is going for the attack, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know about this. The Archons, if the Roaches are going to leave, the Archons are going to drop. There are some Roaches back home, though, so they're enough to handle it, and that is something you have to learn how to do, too, at the higher levels, is split your units. Split them. Roaches coming into the third base. Does Zest go back home to save that third? Nah, he presses onward. He presses onward into this natural where there is a handful of units, but most of them are over here trying to kill this third base. There are DTs in the mix, hacking these roaches to pieces. Where's the detection, soO? I don't know. Charge Lot's getting on top of Queens here. Roaches and Ravagers ready to corrosive bile the crap out of this army if necessary. More Roaches coming on in. The third base is actually saved. The Roaches retreating in shame from that location. DT's trying to get into the main base. Nope, those are getting shut down here too. So Zest is incredibly all over soO right now, but cannot quite break him. He's got the Immortals, he's got the Sentries, but the Ravager count is just too dang high, and that's what you want. 5 drones have gone down here fairly recently. 50 workers for soO. Still hasn't been able to kill this third base. This is a pretty intense game number 2 we're looking at here in this soO compilation. And Zest heads on back home. Hey, did you know about the Falcon Paladin Hour? It is a weekly podcast with myself and Somicron, who's an Australian. We talk about stuff like Spider-Man, Far From Home. We talk about Infinity War. We talk about the comings and goings in the StarCraft universe, including, I am casting this on Sunday, the 21st of July, where there was a tweet from InControl's Twitter account that he had passed away, which we knew he was ill. We knew he didn't go to Home Story Cup because he was ill, but I couldn't even imagine he was going to die that soon. I mean, on the off chance that was a hoax, which is a horrible hoax to come from his official Twitter account. It was hacked in some way, I don't know, but it sure seems like it's the real deal, and I'm feeling terrible about this. Immortals dropping into the main base of soO. Everybody, are we all going back home to try to save the day here? Roaches are like, we'll kill you. Queens are trying to get this warp prism if at all possible. Roach is trying to get into the third base. This is just... Zest, man, is everywhere. The warp prism did get... Oh, no. Did he get the warp prism? There's no way. He got that warp prism with the Immortals inside it? Oh, the Spore Crawler extra hits. That's what I'm... Oh my gosh, he did. Okay, that was huge. So third base is alive for Zest, which is huge. Losing a warp prism with 2 Immortals in it is also huge. But yeah, rest in peace, Jeff Robinson in control. Still trying to process it, honestly. He was just on the Pylon Show Discord 2 days ago. He seemed okay. Whew. All right, so Corrosive Bile's going down on these force fields. Going up a ramp is still not the greatest of ideas, though, here from soO. I don't like it very much, especially with all the Archons up there and the Immortals, too. Trying to come around from both sides for the flank attack. One Archon goes down, another one going to go down here too. That front line of Archons with Immortals in the back is so strong, but there's so much Zerg here nevertheless. Corrosive Bile trying to go down, dodging his own Corrosive Bile. Chargebot's trying to get on top of this, trying to make it happen. The sentries are throwing down force fields as they can, but they're on the front lines, and no, Zest is just getting overwhelmed by Zerg here. Overseer does not have enough HP to stay alive. The DTs are actually hacking away at this army quite nicely. And oh my gosh, look at this hacking. Bring more detection. You've seen that Zest is more than willing to make a bunch of DTs to try to save his bacon. And he's done it twice now. With DTs, not enough detection from soO coming into these attacks. Where the heck? There's one. Well, there's an Overseer, okay. Still 3 base to 3 base right now. And I don't feel this from soO at the moment. It is, however, 92 to 49 army, which is a lot for soO. But man, big ticket items here are Archons and Immortals. Not enough Immortals, I don't think, to do this. Nice Corrosive Bile. Ling's trying to run in. Nice force fields again, though. Second line force fields. Doing some work right now. The juggling is insane out of Zest. Army supply down to 54 right now. And the entire Zerg army gets obliterated by these Immortals. 16 kills, 15 kills, 7 kills on those Immortals. Archon, 30 kill Archon. Holding the line here right now. soO is coming in for more, man. Corrosive Bile on an Observer. No detection for you. Get out of my house. More Roaches cruising across the map here. Upgrades are +1 missile attack for the Roaches and Ravagers. We are looking at +2 attack and speed done for Zest's army, his ground army here. He's got the Immortals. He's got the charge lots. Army supply much closer now. I mean, that was soO attacking into an army that was half the size of his, and he lost that. So I don't think attacking into it where he has 9 more army supply than Zest does is that great of an idea, but he's not getting a 4th base. soO is kind of playing this, again, like me, where I'm like, I gotta kill the Protoss now. I can't go late game with this. I don't want to. Oh, Ravager Eggs getting picked off by Immortals. Zest's map awareness and game sense is just insane right now. I'm really, really enjoying it. Trying to come up that ramp, and charge lots. Focusing on the Roaches at the front here. Immortals hanging at the back, doing the real damage. Zealots tanking as they always do. Fighting on 2 fronts right now. soO wins the southern front, but the northern front definitely going to Zest right now. Force Field's keeping these guys out so they can't come around for the flank right now. And I think that might be it. Suddenly, 73 to 55 army supply and good game, Zest. Zest comes down from being down like 40 or 50 supply to soO and wins the game with 2 incredible defenses from 2 fronts here. Mind you, amazing force fields, Immortals just crushing it throughout that entire game. The Roaches and Ravagers were not enough to get through. For a second there, it looked really, really bad for the Protoss player, but he was able to hold on with some nice juggling of Immortals and Archons with that Warp Prism to get the upgrades that he needed. That +2 attack was really very nice for him. And yeah, held on to 3 bases. soO never expanded. Behind that was at a minimum of 42 workers. Had taken so much damage to the economy in the first 10 minutes of that game. 33 drones were murdered there. 105 Roaches went down. Wow, that is how you play Protoss. That is how you play Protoss from Zest. So that's 2. Let's see how soO does against stats in an upcoming game here. So stick with me. Don't go anywhere. We'll examine that further as ZVP in just a second. We're going to give stats a 2-0 lead here on soO, just giving him SOS's, or rather Zest's points. This is not SOS, this is stats. And last game, it was Zest. Okay, so soO, prove yourself against the highest echelon of Protoss players in the world here. Bottom right-hand corner on Kairos Junction again is going to be soO. And in the top left, it is stats. I know it says barcode, but it's definitely stats here. He is ridiculously good at this game. And we'll see. We'll see what soO can do on this one. I'm just going to reiterate, just consistently throwing Roaches and Ravagers against a Protoss wall is such a hard way to win. You can sometimes win games that way, but man, it sure seems like Zerg is intended and meant to be played the macro style like Serral does, where you wait for the Protoss to come to you, and you attack places the army is not, and you get surrounds on creep, and you just never attack into an entrenched Protoss player or an entrenched Terran player, unless you absolutely cannot help it. And then, again, in the macro games, there's always somewhere you can go. Serral's always able to find those bases that are lightly defended, get in there, snipe one, and get out. That's what he's been all about. So... yeah, that is the reality of Zerg. I wish it was better equipped to be aggressive. I feel like that fits. It just fits what Zerg is. You know what I mean? Like, Zerg comes at you in swarms, and you desperately have to defend against them. If you don't defend well enough, you die. That's what I kind of feel like Zerg should be, but instead, it's like, well, defending against Zerg is actually not that bad. It's easier, actually, than moving out onto creep sometimes against Zerg and trying to eradicate them, which I guess maybe that makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Right? If you move in to attack the Zerg, it's harder for you to do than being attacked by the Zerg. Both things are very difficult. Anyway, I understand they don't balance the game around lore concepts. I just wish Zerg had more aggressive builds they could do. That's all. I mean, again, I told you the story of how I made it to Diamond, top 8 Diamond back in 2011, just because I was Baneling busting every single game. It was amazing. And holding 4 gates on the other end. So, I mean, against Protoss, that was the thing. 4 gates were the new hotness. And I remember one Christmas break just being frustrated to no end because I couldn't stop these 4 gates. And then HD StarCraft put out a video explaining how to stop it. And I was like, ah, okay. So basically you take 2 bases, you make this many workers, you throw up some Evo Chambers and Spine Crawlers in front of your natural, get +1 on your Lings, and get a couple Queens and you're good. And I was like, holy smokes, that does work. Wow. So I still owe HD StarCraft that top 8 finish I was able to get back in 2011. But yeah, and then again, ZVZ was just like, who knows? To this day, I don't really have a go-to build for ZVZ. It's just like, I don't know, man. Do whatever you want, and like, sometimes it works, I guess, and sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, nice positioning here. Adept does get out of there after getting a couple kills. What is... oh, Extractor. Okay, so Extractor gas steal up here from soO. Annoying, but in that location, not too annoying here for stats at all. Base coming in here from soO at the natural base. It is late. This is pretty much a mirror match of what we saw of the last game that we saw soO to do against Zest, and with the gas steal and the hatch block and the Adept harassment. And everything's about the same here so far, but we'll see what the follow-up is going to be. War Prism out of stats into another gateway into a what, though? This kind of... maybe Twilight Council? Does this feel like a Resonating Glaives Adept push? Nope, there's the Immortal. Okay, so Immortal push. But, like, you need something else here. Twilight Council would be awesome with this. I'm not questioning stats. I'm just saying I don't know what he's going for. It can't just be gateway units and immortals. That doesn't make any sense. Either charge lots, sure, but you need a Twilight Council for that. Like, Stalker Immortal doesn't make any sense in the long run because Lings will surround and murder that into oblivion. That's not even actually an option here. So, Zergling's cruising out on scouting missions, trying to see where on earth Stats is going to come try to kill him next. He's getting his Roach Warren here at approximately 54 supply. Queen's injecting, sitting at 40 workers at 4.5 minutes. And yeah, this is where... Okay, now on the other hand, I do like aggressive builds from Zerg, but also I do like the fact that if you can hold against harassment and just drone your face off forever and ever, you can get to the point where you have a stupid good economy and you can tech switch really easily. It's nice. I've been playing some team games, 3v3s on ladder recently, and it is nice to be able to be like, I'm going to go for a Roach Max here and then defend a little bit and get up to that, you know, 65 workers Roach Max. And then you're like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're going for mass Widowmine. Hydras would be better. And then you just make 50 Hydralisks on your next round. And it's awesome. It's hard. It is hard. But once you get there, it does feel nice. And it does feel Zergy. But enough about my personal experiences. What are we doing back here in Protosville? The answer is, man, is he still not? Boy, is this Sentry Immortal? What the heck is this? Why on earth would you go Sentry Immortal in 2019? This does not work. There are Ravagers. Ravagers exist now. Oh, man. All right. Well, Stats is going to try it. And I guess that's your tell. If you don't see a Twilight Council and you don't see, well, a Twilight Council, then it's going to be a Sentry Immortal Zealot play. Army supply 49 to 62 in favor of soO right now. Lings, Ravagers, Roaches. Let's see how this works out. Observer comes in. They're picking off creep. They're sitting on creep. soO knows this army is here. And Ling wrap around on the backside. That's what the force fields are for, though. It does keep those Lings out to some extent. Corrosive Bile's landing in the middle there very nicely. And yeah, I just don't see this working at all for Stats. He's trying, but he is retreating. These Zealots do not have charge, and therefore they are not as good as they otherwise would be. All of the Lings died, which is a problem for soO here, but he's able to replace those pretty easily. 16 Lings in production. They don't take that long to come in. That Overlord does end up getting picked off, and the Stalker gets saved by the Warp Prism there. This feels pretty all-in-y, honestly, out of Stats here. He is going for a Twilight Council and a Forge Back Home. But yeah, soO's able to replace his army here. He's back up to 64 army supply. Just waiting for Stats to come in, and then he can Corrosive Bile him down to death. So yeah, didn't really work out, because again, Ravagers exist and Corrosive Bile exists. This used to work really well against Zerg right up until Ravagers and their ability to break force fields was a thing, because until then it was like, well, Lings can't get in there because of the force fields, and Roaches just get wrecked by the Immortals. This Cybernetics core is going to go down. There's really no saving it here. Stats is trying, but nope. Cyber core down, so that hurts. Templar Archives on the way, and Charge getting researched. So Stats did not accomplish everything he wanted to with that attack, which was to kill soO, but he did keep soO from going to a quick 4th base. However, Stat sacrificed his own 3rd to make it happen, so I don't know. We're pretty much even at this stage. 45 to 43 workers. soO has a bigger army, but it's not as well suited to attacking into the Protoss. Dude, soO, remember we talked about this, man. We just saw this. We saw this very thing on this very map. And sure, the positions are swapped, but... oh, the force fields, though! Seeing the Lings get in here all by themselves. They're picking off a couple Stalkers, which is nice, I guess, but too many. Way too many force fields coming in here, and Archons at the top of the ramp. soO's pushing this. Meanwhile, Hallucinated Phoenix on the other side of the map. And by golly, suddenly this is actually not working for Stats. The counterattack doing a ton of work here. Charge is not done yet. There's no Storm available. There's just Immortal juggling here, which in fairness is incredible. And it turns out nothing can actually take down this Warp Prism in the hands of somebody as good as Stats is. But yeah, your front door replacement Cyber Core is forfeit. Lings might actually just get in there. There are no sentries here for force fields. I like this patience from soO, though. He's like, I don't have to A-move in there. I'm just going to kill production facilities because they're here for the taking. And then maybe send the Lings in to get a wraparound. Oh, going after probes a little bit there, too. Now buffering versus the charge lots. So the Zealots use their charge against the Zerglings instead of the Ravagers. That's very nicely done from soO here. A desperation hold right now from the Protoss player. Look at him keeping these Immortals alive, though. 12 kills on this Immortal. He is injured. 21 kills on that Immortal. He is injured, but he is not dead. Protoss players, if you want to get high in the ladder, figure out how to keep your Immortals alive. Doesn't matter what else you do. Just keep them alive. Keep them smashing Zerg face, and you're going to be just fine. I cannot believe how cost-efficient these units are on average in these games. 21 kills. A 21-kill Immortal. Not even a T3 unit, guys. Not even a T3 unit there. That is how good those things are. Lings. Checking to see, is there a third base? No, that's good for soO, man. soO on this 3-base economy. He's got 54 to 44 workers, but oversaturated for sure at his natural base. Stats income is not as good as soO's, as we can see and compare down here. Tech is 2,600 for stats and 450 for soO, which just means the upgrades are way better. All we have is speed for the Zerg. Ah, forces a cancel on the third base. soO making it happen here, man. This is ridiculous game sense from him. Couple drones die here to the Archon drop at the third base, but soO is otherwise quite ready for that. Stats army comes down to help secure the third base this time. He made a mistake of not doing that the first time around. This is wide open for a Ling run by, though. I'm just going to point that out. That front door is as wide open as it will ever be. And now it's not. Well, there's High Templar. Never mind. Archon's on the way here. Army supply 89 to 57. Roach speed is being researched here at 10 minutes. He's like, I don't need roaches. I'm making Ravagers. That's fair, I guess, dude. Entirely fair here. Yeah, so now there's Archons holding the front door to some extent. I still feel like a Ling run by is a problem. More Immortals being produced, plus 2 attack. Now on the way from the Protoss player. He's got that +1. He's got that charge. Again, upgrades are a little bit sparse. Little bit sparse here today from both these players, but that's because everyone's been so dang aggressive. Fourth base is coming up, being defended here by soO's army. Third base happily long distance mining while that comes up here, and looks like we're just doing a bit of a reset right now. Oh, the Archons gonna get a cancel on this hatchery. They do not, though. Too many roaches, too many Ravagers. Again, I'd love to see some Corruptors or Hydras versus this War Prism because it is not dying. It is refusing to die here. We're just dancing. Dancing along this right side. Third base up and happily running for stats now. Fourth base is going to come up eventually for soO. Protoss base looking good, man. He's looking like he didn't go for an all-in and fail. He's recovered quite nicely. He's at 43 total workers, which is maybe not enough. Oh, the fourth base, though. soO doesn't care. He's going for it, man. Look at all of these roaches and all of these Ravagers. This is so much Zerg with the Immortals sitting back. One of them with 4 kills is going to go down. How many more Immortals do you have to get here to win this thing, though? Because, man, that one's being healed by a shield battery, which is so very, very nice. 24 kill Immortal is still in the group here, and I think Stats is holding this. He just... Immortals, guys, look. Immortal good units. Immortal's such a good unit. I don't even... Everything else was dead. Everything else in the Protoss army was dead. He literally, at the end of the game there, had a couple Archons on the other side of the map. Ah, I tried to pause that. One more time. Yeah, man. Where's our guy? There's our 25 kill Immortal here. He's alive at the end of the game. Yeah, I can't. Apparently I can't hit pause fast enough, but yeah. Like a 30 kill Immortal there. Dang. So soO loses the fourth base, decides to go for it, has the bigger army. But Immortals in a defensive position, pretty good, as it turns out. And soO is sent packing. soO's not doing as well as I thought he would today. I'm going to be honest with you. I figured he would win one of the first 3 games I cast of his, but no, not at all. So soO, make our Zerg fans happy. Win one of the next couple games we're going to cast here, because we're going to cast some more games. But at the end of the game, 61 roaches down, 2 immortals out, 51 zealots. Again, that attack on the third base with the Sentry Immortal did not work for stats, but it didn't matter. He's able to come back, no problem. 1 hatchery down, 2 cybernetics cores picked off there by soO, which is okay. But again, not enough to win the game. So, GG Protoss. Let's see if we can Zerg win here just to balance things out. I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. We'll be right back. New repugnancy. Stats, bottom left. soO, top right. Alright, soO. I love you, man. But you can't lose every game on this compilation of yours, can you? Maybe you can. Alright. No shenanigans here from the Protoss player. I don't feel like Stats cannon rushes all that much. In fact, I can't remember ever seeing a game where Stats cannon rushed. But I'm pretty sure he does sometimes, just to keep opponents on their toes. Because if you know that Stats never cannon rushes, you never have to prepare for it. Dun, 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 dun. As a forge comes down, that's not a force, that's a gateway. Alright, gateway. Probe moving across the map here. soO is trying to go for that hatch first at 17 supply. He does end up getting it here. The probe did not, notably, go for the pylon and then go across the map and try to block the hatchery. This time, he's not interested in that. He's coming across to scout it, but not to try to stop it from happening. And I'm sure soO is very pleased about that. Pleased as punch about that, for sure. Able to get the hatch down in his natural base for the first time in 3 games on this channel. Very, very frustrating stuff to be sure. Man, soO is really trying to get up there, man. Yo, 3 hatching. Oh, yes, he threw down the proxy hatch in Stats' natural base. That's where it is. I'm like, where is your pool, man? Where's your extractor? You don't have any of those things? Okay. He's just blocking. He's just trying to deny the Nexus for a little bit here. He doesn't really have any other plans for it because there is no pool. There's a pool on the way now, but I mean, this hatch is not going down. You get 4 to 5 probes, you make a zealot, you chrono boost it out, and that kills it before it even comes close to finishing, as we can see here. So there you go. This is what I'm talking about. That's all you need. 1 zealot, 4, apparently just 4 probes is enough if you catch it early enough. And that's a cancel. And maybe he can toss up... No. Might toss something up to further block that expansion, but nope, he does not. Stats has enough minerals to expand. He's going to do so here shortly. And by that, I mean now. Just kidding. He's going for gas. He was worried about that gas getting stolen. So he gassed and then he expanded, which is hilarious. Another hatch on the way here, third base from soO. He lost some resources to do that. 75, 125. Wait, did he lose the drone? He lost the drone. So 75 on that canceled hatchery. Not a huge deal at all, honestly. A handful of lings coming out to deal with this adept that's cruising on over. And we're just moving into more of a standard match here. So a little bit of annoyance from soO towards Stats, but Stats is fine. soO's actually supply blocked here somehow. Did he lose an Overlord? He did not. Did he overpool? He must have extractor tricked or something. I don't know, man. The Adept decides to get out of there and does very nicely, but now there's a Queen, and now the Adept has to get out. So nice job saving the day with a handful of lings there until the Queen was able to pop. Queens were delayed because, again, the pool was delayed because that hatch was coming up on the other side of the map. But yeah, at this stage, just looking pretty standard. soO shouldn't die to anything crazy here in the next couple of minutes. Neither should Stats. Robotics facility coming in. And the question is, anything else? Because if we see the same attempt here out of Stats, I just don't know. I just don't know what to think. I just haven't seen it work at the highest level of StarCraft in years. There's a reason the strategy was really popular in Heart of the Swarm and then just fell apart entirely in Legacy of the Void with the introduction of the Ravager. Once again, Overlord comes in and says, alright, see your robotics facility, and nothing else, mind you. Absolutely no other things. No Stargates, no Twilight Councils. And the Overlord is going to die, but that's fine. soO is actually not all that prepared for that. He is supply blocked again. But with 2 Overlords on the way, it's a very temporary supply block, to be sure. So Ling's trying to see, is there a quick third base we can possibly shut down over here? The answer is no, there is not. Stats is not being too greedy at this stage of the game. Creep spreading it. Third place getting saturated here, too. We're 4.5 minutes into the match. There's your Roach Warren from soO again. Just doing what he's done, honestly, in these first few matches. Creep spread to connect all 3 bases to each other with creep. I'm really, really enjoying that. Creep to the edge of the map, or the edge of the base, rather, so that you can actually see when warp-ins are coming. Which is something that Omicron talks about when he watches me play StarCraft out on twitch.tv/FalconPaladin. As he says, spread your creep to the edge there. Oh, that poor Adept left behind because the queen damage was too much. That's why queens are important. You gotta have the queens focused on that War Prism at all times. Ling's checking to see, is there another? No, there's not, man. Once again, it's just another Immortal Sentry push. This is crazy talk. No charge at all. What does Stats know that I don't know? Why does he keep trying this? It must have some level of a success rate against Zergs at his level. Or I don't think he'd be doing it. I can't see him doing this twice in a row in the same series. Maybe the point isn't necessarily to kill the Zerg, as just make him make units, trade a bunch of stuff poorly, and then put him behind from that point on. Although I don't know that soO was behind. I really don't. After that attack came in, Stats lost a ton of stuff. soO was fine. He kept his base. He didn't lose that many workers, really. And he was in a fine position here. But yeah, man, look at this. Look at this. It's non-charged zealots. It's stalkers without blink. It's immortals, yes, and it's sentries, yes, but that's why you have these ravagers here, and that's why you're ready at this 3rd base location. You step onto the creeps, soO knows that you're there, and you're ready to rock. Actually knew down here as well. Ling's trying to get inside the front door. Nice job holding that from Stats. And more zealots coming in, but they just don't have as much value if they don't have a charge, and they don't have any attack upgrades, as they don't right now. I mean, upgrades are very minimal here for both players. Speed for Zerglings and Warp Gate. Speed and Warp Gate are the two, like, you'll never skip those ever in a game of StarCraft. If you're Protoss or if you're Zerg. Overlord sniped down, Stats finding what damage he can at this point, but it's just not. Roach speed coming in, the more time soO has to prepare for this, the worse it's going to be. Spine Crawler stabbing away too, just a little bit extra on that static defense is all soO setting up there. Not going crazy with spines because Immortals crush them, but just having a little bit of static defense is enough to make Stats rethink it. That's a beautiful concave from the Zerg. If he's going for it, he's getting a nice surround on those Zealots. The Zealots actually hammering away there pretty nicely. Next round of Force Fields is up here. Ling's trying to get on top of those Immortals, but the Zealots doing a nice job covering that flank. And make sure the Lynx can't get that surround. More Zealots warping on in here right now. More Force Fields, man, as a Queen pays the price for those Force Fields. Very nicely here. More Corrosive Biles going down. Being used for their original purpose, which was kill Force Fields, but are so rarely used unless it's in situations like this. soO continuing to push on in right now, picking up the Immortals that are getting focus fired and then dropping them again. Oh, the Warp Prism goes down! That might be what soO needs to win this game. As the Warp Prism dies, the juggling does not happen. The Roaches have speed. The Immortals are backed into a corner. They try to recall out of there, but good golly, none of them make it out. The Zealots can't take down the 3rd base all by themselves. They're fleeing for their lives here, too. Army supply 66 to 20 right now. And yeah, it just came down to Stats. Lost track of that Warp Prism just a little bit. It got Corrosive Biled out of the sky with some Queen damage there too. And that shuts the whole attack down. Just crushes the whole attack. Yeah, and there's no 3rd base behind it. Some Adepts are trying to get some damage done while everybody else is distractedly chasing these Roaches or these Zealots across the map. Drones trying to fight. That's not going to work out. Some Roaches and Queens do show up. The Adepts are going to die. The counterattack from soO is not being slowed down all that much. All he's got are a bunch of Sentries and an Immortal, which turns out maybe you want a little bit more than that. I don't know. Yeah, this one Immortal. Immortals are good, but they're not this good. This is so much Zerg right at your front door. No Warp Prism to save you today, Immortal. He is backing up as much as he can, but that's your good game. And soO manages to win a match against one of these elite Protoss players today. Good golly, Miss Molly. What an absolutely crazy game there. These have been really fun. I really, really enjoy these matches so far. So, man, soO gets it by holding the Sentry Immortal Zealot attack that was coming at him at about 7 minutes. He holds it, is able to kill the Warp Prism. That shuts the whole thing down, and then Stats doesn't have enough back home. He tries to recall. That fails. Doesn't have a 3rd base. His income is not as good as he wants it to be. soO's expanding behind it. The Adept's harassing gets shut down there too, and soO gets a win here on New Repugnancy. Yeah, Warp Prism down. Key to the whole game right there. 33 Roaches down, 4 Immortals died. There was one more that was about to die too. So Immortals, they're not being juggled. Not as good as it turns out. Does take some power to keep them alive, some skill there. 26 Zealots, again, not charge lots as charges coming up late. But yeah, I don't understand this out of stats. I've just never seen this work. I haven't seen this work for years. Let me know in the comments if you've seen stats win with this thing over and over somewhere around the way. Like, find me the replay. I'd love to cast it because I don't see it working against players of soO's caliber or close, you know. Okay, more coming your way, whether Zest or stats. I don't know. We'll see. Stick with it. We'll be right back. More stats, more soO, more King's Cove. Top left stats, bottom right soO. All right, so who's going to block the expansion in this game? I wonder. Falcon Paladin merch, you guys. There's a link in the description. If you see something that's not, or if you want something and you don't see it, let me know in the comments or at falconpaladin@gmail.com. That is where all of the correspondence goes to. And I've had that address for a long time, and I read every single email that comes through there. All right? All right. Sounds good. So where are we today? We are honestly just ZVPing it. 16 hatch here on King's Cove. Rush distance not as far as it is on Thunderbird, so there it is. Probe coming around the sneaky way. Definitely going for a gateway back home. Just maybe not sneaky. Maybe it's more efficient this direction. I don't know. I have to measure it to see if going this way is faster. I guess you have to go all the way there. So maybe not. Maybe we're good. We are good, Mr. Probe. So 1 gas pylon expand is what we're looking at here out of stats. Probe comes in to see what is up, and the answer is just a hatch gas pool. Nothing crazy out of soO here yet. And there is ye old expansion, which the Overlord does not know exists because he has moved across the map as fast as he can, but he is not there. And he will not be there for another couple minutes or so. Now, the question for soO is, do you go for the 3rd hatch now, or do you want to get your queens out first? Generally, he has definitely wanted to get the queens out first. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. And, oh, just kidding. Check this action out. He does go for the hatch before the queens. That is an option for you. You have enough resources there to go for 2 queens or to go for a 3rd hatch at about 2 minutes. And he decided this time, and this time we're just going to go for the 3rd hatch. It'll delay our queens. It will delay our speed a bit. But he is totally okay with that. As you recognize, there's nothing crazy is coming out of stats anytime soon. First Adept is on the way. He can handle that no problem as his pool is done. And the queen is on the way at the natural base. So yeah, that's where you're going to make your first queen. Your main is going to be delayed a little bit, but that's okay. Because your 3rd hatch is going to come up, and it's going to be a major, major victory for you. As he scout? He hasn't scouted this. Ooh. Stats doesn't know there's a 3rd base behind this. He might know, based on how late this queen is, that there's a 3rd base coming up down to the south here. Maybe he's not even bothering to look because he knows it exists. Meanwhile, it is going to be a Stargate opening from stats, and that rally path tells me it's going to be an Oracle. So we have an Oracle name ready to go as necessary here. I guess it could be Phoenix too, but with that rally path, it makes much more sense for it to be an Oracle here today. So Adept comes in, says, oh, there's a 3rd base, and oh my gosh, it's almost done. All right, cool. Now I've got a handful of lings and a queen here. Stabbity, stab, stab, stab. There you go. Takes 1 shot. The lings are ready to rock. Is there a queen at the main base? There absolutely is, and the Adept does not finish her transfer because she doesn't want to die. But that deep into creep, she's not getting out, is the general concept here. So nicely done by soO, just having enough to hold against 1 Adept. Overlord seeing exactly what comes out of that gateway. Further tech is as follows. Ooh, it is a Phoenix. Are you serious? It was a Phoenix the whole time? It certainly was a Phoenix the whole time. Guess he wants to kill this Overlord, which is understandable. And there's an Oracle on the way. The Oracle's name is RoboCop 3.0. After continued and unending failures to copy the success of the original RoboCop, Omni Consumer Products used the stolen Protoss Oracle as the basis for RoboCop 3.0. Unfortunately, making RoboCop fly was the single worst decision ever. So it is even worse than RoboCop 2.0. Well, somebody, is there a RoboCop 2 or just a RoboCop 1? I don't know. I don't think we've actually seen RoboCop 1. It is honestly shockingly violent. for a film, especially one from the 80s. It's definitely rated R. Like, don't show that one to your kids. All right, RoboCop 3 cruising across the map here. Got the Phoenix coming in from the opposite direction. Spore crawlers exist in every mineral line except for the natural base, but there are 2 queens there, so that's fine. 3 queen shots on the Oracle down that direction, and queen shots coming into this area too. No, dodged back in, out of the range of the Spore a little bit. Nice control there from Stats, actually. Not too shabby. As another Oracle comes in, and another Oracle comes in. So 3 Oracles and a Phoenix, the opening here. Out of Stats. soO seems to be fairly well prepared for this. Adepts not doing super well for themselves. They do shade. Oh, they shaded all the way back in here where there are 3 queens waiting. All right, so those Adepts are dead. Some drones go down, but not really enough to concern soO at this stage. The problem here is at the 3rd base where there's double Oracle and only 1 queen and 1 Spore. Ooh, Oracle does get picked off, though. A little bit too greedy there. Did stick around too long, and I think soO's in a pretty good spot. He's at 59 to 47 workers. He's lost some drones, but not enough to really be a concern. The Oracles, in general, are not going to be enough to win the game here versus somebody as good as soO is. We've seen Mass Oracle do stuff in the past, but since they nerfed it to do less damage than they used to, it's, well, it's not nearly as good, not nearly as viable these days anymore. Baneling Nest coming up. This feels like a Ling, Bane, Hydra strategy out of soO, and definitely it is. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, it is sentries here for defense all the way home. Another gateway coming in, and really just the Stargate and the robotics facility here, which, I don't know. Oracle's still trying to do stuff. Killing a couple drones. Ling's getting on top. Oh, the sentries, though. My gosh, losing the sentries is such a problem for Stats Army right now. Ugh, some of these probes are getting picked off. Very nice control here. Maybe trying to get one of the Adepts at the same time, but 2 Adepts with shield battery support and an Immortal is enough to get them out of there. So yeah, the Oracles, again, doing decent work. 3 kills on that one and 2 kills on that one. RoboCop 3.0, more effective than we thought it would be after that description. I guess he did have help of other RoboCops, though, so that helps a lot. 3rd base does complete despite the Ling harassment up there, and just going Hydra, man. Hydra, Ling, Baneling. It's going to work pretty well, I think, versus this strategy of Stats. Man, this is not enough of an army to hang with this, though. soO, yeah, get out. Just go back to creep. Can you get back to creep without dying? I'm not convinced you can. That Oracle is probably going to get recalled out based on where it is. More Lings, more Hydras joining the party here, and now the table has turned. Lings are up here. Hydras wreck everything in this army right now. There are not enough Adepts. The sentries are in trouble. The Immortal is in trouble. Look at him focusing down the sentries here. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead here for Stats. This Hydra counterattack has been so good. Suddenly, the army is 58 to 32. Hydras crushing up to the front door. That 3rd base of Stats. Banelings coming in. 15 Banelings coming in. Sentry count is 2. We'll make it 3. He did save more sentries than I thought he would, to be honest. The question is, can he hold against this many Banelings and this many Hydras? That is a doubling army supply right now. Sentries, okay, not bad. Oh no, there's a hole! There was a hole! Oh, the sentries did get some force fields down, and there are no Ravagers here, and this is buying time right now. Stats might actually be able to do this. That Immortal is being healed up by shield batteries. Does get picked off there anyway. Sentries picked off by Banelings along the right side, and good game. soO does redeem himself, winning the last 2 games of the soO compilation for your Sunday series and pulling a very respectable 2-2-3 against both Zest and Stats here today. That was amazing. That was really good stuff. And the response there was amazing from soO. He's like, you're going to make that many Oracles and a Phoenix and not wipe out an entire mineral line. I'm going Hydra, Ling, Bane. You're not going to have enough of anything to stop me. You're not going to have Charge. You're not going to have Storm. And the Hydras are going to show up, get some stuff done. The sentries can save you for only so long. Shield batteries on the same way. And well done. soO gets that victory. Only 1 Hydralisk died. Are you kidding? That is some efficient Hydralisk play there from soO, for sure. 1 Hydra down, 3 Immortals down. 11 Banelings exploded without them wanting to. 51 Lings, a couple shield batteries. 10 sentries died. That is so many sentries to lose in the first 8 minutes. That was absolutely Stats relying on those sentries to keep him alive and to make these pushes a little bit better. Just lost 10 of them at the end of the game. He had a total of 1, so that's a problem. 62 probes, man. 62 workers for stats. I guess, I don't know. It is 60 for soO, so he was being pretty greedy too on 4 bases. So 4 base to 3 base, but the tech just wasn't there for stats, and he's dead. So nice job by soO, finishing up our Sunday series today on a high note for all Zerg players everywhere. And yeah, that is going to be it from me today. So go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard from Falcon Paladin on this Sunday series. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.